The Jefferson Nickel of 1984 stands as one of the important yearly issues in the long-running series that began in 1938 when the United States Mint replaced the Buffalo nickel with a new design honoring Thomas Jefferson and displaying his iconic home Monticello. By the time 1984 arrived, the series had already existed for almost half a century and had seen changes in minting technology, metal shortages, wartime compositions, and gradual improvements in dyes and planchet preparation. The 1984 nickel belongs to the late modern era of the series, a period when the Mint was focusing strongly on mass production, high-speed press efficiency, and improved quality control, as America entered a decade of economic change, technological advancement, and growing demand for circulating coinage. In 1984, the Mint produced Jefferson nickels at both Philadelphia and Denver, and each facility carried its own role in supplying the nation with coinage, used in daily transactions. Philadelphia coins carried no mint mark in this era because the P mint mark would not appear on nickels until 1980, and Denver coins used the D mint mark as usual. The nation's circulation needs during the early to mid-1980s were high due to population growth, nationwide commerce expansion, and the widespread use of coins in vending machines, transportation systems, and everyday retail purchases. The Mint responded by striking hundreds of millions of coins, creating the 1984 issue as one of the plentiful modern nickels, but still retaining collector interest because each year's strikes can differ subtly in die quality, luster strike sharpness, and the presence of die varieties. The design of the 1984 Jefferson nickel continued the long-running portraits created by sculptor Felix Schlag. The obverse features a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson with the inscriptions Liberty and the date placed carefully by the designer. Over the decades, dies were modified slightly for clarity and relief, and by the 1980s, the Mint had adopted a set of hubs that created a smoother and more modern appearance compared to earlier years. On the reverse volks, Monticello remained the central architectural element, with the inscriptions Monticello 5 cents, United States of America, and E pluribus unum. While the design had remained stable for decades, the details on each year's coins could vary because die wear, metal flow, and press pressure affected whether the steps at the base of Monticello struck fully. Collectors often search for full steps examples, and in 1984, these are particularly prized because strong, fully detailed strikes were less common than in some earlier years. The broader historical background of 1984 adds deeper meaning to the coin. The United States was in the middle of the Reagan era, an economic and political period characterized by shifting trade relationships, rapid technology growth, and changes in consumer habits. The Mint was upgrading processes using more modern presses and refining planchet preparation to ensure smoother surfaces and consistent weight. The copper-nickel alloy used since 1946 remained unchanged, with a composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving the coin its familiar silver-gray appearance and durability. As America moved toward a more automated economy, the demands on coin production became more rigorous, and the 1984 issue reflects a period when the Mint focused on balancing speed and precision. Errors and varieties linked to the 1984 Jefferson nickel also attract interest from collectors. Modern minting sometimes produced off-center strikes, die cracks, die clashes over polished dies, and occasional planchet flaws. The most important variety for the 1980s nickels arises from differences in the sharpness of Monticello's steps. Full steps. Examples from 1984 require that each stair line be clean, uninterrupted, and sharply defined, a rare occurrence due to the heavy workload on the dies and the high volume of coins produced. These full steps coins are valuable because they represent the best strike quality of the year, and many collectors build sets aiming for only the highest grade coins. In circulation, the 1984 Jefferson nickel served ordinary American life. It passed through convenience stores, supermarkets, bus stations, payphones, and vending machines, Coins from this year witnessed everyday economic activity, and because nickel coins are durable, many 1984 nickels continued circulating for decades. Even today, they appear in pocket change worn down from years of use, but still carrying the iconic portrait of Jefferson. Coin collectors often reference 1984 nickels as examples of mid-1980s mint output, revealing how production quality shifted subtly from year to year, even though casual users saw them simply as everyday currency. Over the course of its life, the 1984 nickel became part of the larger narrative of the Jefferson series, which remained unchanged until the Westward Journey redesigns of 2004 and 2005, and finally the modern obverse redesign in 2006. That makes the 1984 issue a snapshot of the classic Schlag design before the mint made major updates. It represents stability, tradition, and continuity in American coinage. For collectors who enjoy studying minting history, die changes, and strike quality, the 1984 Jefferson Nickel offers a rich opportunity to explore the late 20th century mint environment, as well as the long-running evolution of one of America's most familiar coins. The story of the 1984 Jefferson Nickel also connects to the internal structure of the United States Mint during the early 1980s, when the nation was experiencing evolving economic pressures. The mint was responsible for maintaining stability in the coin supply, and by 1984, the demand for usable circulating coinage had reached a high point due to expanding commercial activity and increasing dependence on small denomination coins. Although paper money handled larger transactions, the nickel, along with the penny and quarter, became essential for automated systems and everyday retail purchases. The Mint's operations in Philadelphia and Denver had to coordinate production schedules, balance metal inventories, and maintain high output while reducing waste because copper and nickel costs fluctuated due to global market conditions. Each 1984 Jefferson Nickel began as a blank slug of copper-nickel alloy punched from a rolled sheet. These blanks underwent annealing cleaning and upset milling to form a raised rim before entering the coining presses. During 1984, the Mint used high-speed Schuler presses capable of producing tens of thousands of coins per hour, but this speed came with challenges. Dies wore rapidly, and press operators constantly monitored the machines to identify die fatigue or weakening details in the design. As a result, some 1984 nickels show sharp, bold features, while others appear soft or dull depending on the condition of the die at the time of striking. This variety fascinates collectors because coins from the same year can appear vastly different in sharpness and luster. The social climate of 1984 enhances the significance of the coin as well. America was moving further into the digital age, but still relied heavily on physical currency for millions of daily interactions. Credit cards were gaining popularity, but were not yet common among average households, meaning coins like the 1984 nickel played a central role in commerce. Children used them for arcade games and school lunches, adults used them for parking meters, bus fares, and vending machines, and workers used them for toll booths and payphones. Every 1984 nickel became part of the lived experience of people across the country and circulated through countless hands before being saved by collectors or worn nearly flat through years of use.